Hello virtual pilots, I'm Andre Celesti, and tonight we are going to talk about the Pimax Crystal Light VR headset and my experience with it. Yes, the Crystal Light just arrived from Pimax, and we have the chance to try it out here in the studio and share our impressions, the good, the bad, and how does it feel compared with the previous headsets from Pimax and others. There are plenty of differences to keep in mind compared with the Pimax Crystal, as the light, well, it's in the name, it's light. And so, the first thing I did, I asked Natasha to weight it, and found out that the headset has around 800 grams. Nice! Pimax took out the IPD motors, so you now need to adjust the distance between the lenses manually using a wheel mounted on the left-hand side of the headset. I actually like this, as once I set it to my preferred option, it stays that way. There are also no fans installed and no heatsink, as it doesn't require them anymore. And more important, no more battery. Yeah, so I know many of you were bothered about the battery in the first headset, each for different reasons, and that's alright. So Pimax listened and they removed the battery for this headset. All in all, they reduced over 300 grams from the previous headset, and you feel it. So that's the good part, as now the Crystal Light is another choice in the Pimax lineup that offers you a more comfortable feel when soaring the skies in DCS, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or any other game you want to experience in VR. With all that weight loss, you will still keep the crystal clear resolution you expect from Pimax, a massive FOV with a big sweet spot, no ghosting, no glare, and the 35 ppd glass lenses. But there's always a but. And this time is, what did we lose? Yes, here comes the sad part. We lost the eye tracking. Now you may say, why did they choose to remove the eye tracking for this headset? Well, it may just have something to do with making the headset more affordable and that previously mentioned weight loss. Now, depending on your budget, as everyone has a different situation on what they call affordable, but in order to reduce the market price of the light, this technology for eye tracking had to be removed. So speaking of the price, not to be one of those creators who keep you until the end of the video to find out about the price, here it is. 4 main options for the Pimax Crystal Light from $699 to $899, some with or without controllers, a QLED plus mini LED and local dimming. Now another important change is the straightforward connections. No more USB hub like with the previous headset, you connect with one display and one USB port. That's it. Now, because they choose to remove the eye tracking in the headset, the Pimax Crystal Light comes with a fixed foveated rendering, rather than a dynamic one, and this is important to know, as from my experience with the previous headset, the Pimax Crystal offered quite some benefits in order to achieve better performance, especially in DCS. Yes, the quad view plus the eye tracking and dynamic foveated rendering helped a lot with my medium to low system specs, and thanks to that I had a good time in DCS while soaring the skies in VR. With the Crystal Light, my system barely keeps up with the 8.2 million pixels being rendered in the headset, and not much help from fancy technology to bring it down a notch. I take this as a good point for those of you who, just like me, either are stuck with low system specs for the time being or are about to upgrade. I took a comparison flight in the Viper, as the view from it is outstanding, and you get the same feel like in the normal Crystal, but with the fixed foveated rendering and my current system settings, I do see a squarish rendering in the middle. Not something that bothered me, but it's there. I also compared the experience in the F4E Phantom. Previously, I recorded some shots in the cockpit from within the lenses of the normal Crystal. I can say that the clarity is still there. Maybe even more now, as the Crystal Light has no removable lenses, so the display sits a bit more closer to the lens. Maybe. I also cannot deny that in my first attempt, I got quite some lag. Running at 90Hz with my system wasn't a good idea. I won't even try the 120Hz option within DCS, as I may just trigger the fire alarm. So I tune it down a notch. But you may ask, is it bad? Not at all. I still managed to find a sweet spot, and with a bit of tweaking and lowering this and that, I managed to have a good time with the Pimax Crystal Light. Let's remember that DCS requires some oomph when it comes to VR. Personally, I will upgrade this system, but by the end of this year, and I will give the Crystal Light another try then. But as of now, the lightweight, big FOV and crystal clear image makes it a very tempting offer from Pimax, and this time not just for flight sim enthusiasts, but also for the entire family. Yes, it may still be chunky on the front side, but it's needed to get that extra FOV. And as the team at Pimax listened to your comments, our impressions, and took some notes, they managed to make the light so you don't have that barrier we talked about before when it comes to sharing the experience with everyone in the house. It's way more comfortable, has a long cable, and doesn't require too much tweaking in setting up. The hand controllers are the same as the ones we used before with the previous headset. Small and easy to grab, nothing too fancy, but they do the job. On the audio side, the headset came with a standard audio setup and I can't say it's impressive. I actually had to ramp up the volume to get to hear most things in the game. But there is also quite some space to just place your own headset. For example, I tried my SteelSeries and works perfectly with the headset over them. Not bad. Now, of course, you can buy the separate headphones from Pimax, as this is an option too. And if you own a Crystal already, you have those DMS speakers already, so you can always switch to them as they are compatible. As we mentioned in our previous review of the Crystal, they offer a good sound quality, and in our situation with the Crystal Light, will be definitely a better choice rather than the standard ones. As you know, the headset doesn't require any base stations, as it has inside-out tracking feature like the Crystal. But if you want to use the Lighthouse tracking, it can support that one too, with an extra cost. The install was easy, just make sure you use the latest software from Pimax, and it's as straightforward as you can say plug and play. I tried it with DCS, IL-2 and Combat Air Patrol 2 by Microprose. In my opinion, it remains as a high-end PCVR headset even with the cutoff features. It's a testament that Pimax is actually listening to the community and tries to adapt and respond with new products that are tailored for everyone's needs in regards of VR. Now, I cannot hide that I was more excited about the Pimax Crystal Super, but that will be available later in the future. So, a big thank you to Pimax Crystal for sending us the headset, and once again this was sent as a loaner unit, so I will return it to Pimax in good time. But until then, it has become my go-to VR headset despite my limitations in system specs. And please remember, if you want to purchase your very own Pimax Crystal Light, use our referral link in the video description in order to support our channel and get yourself a high-end PCVR headset and enter the wonderful world of virtual reality. And that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. Many thanks to our Patreons for their continuous support. Make sure to give us a like if you find the video informative and subscribe to keep in touch with all the latest news on your favorite simulators and games. I am Andre Celesti, reminding you to fly safe, and I'll see you next time.